In the heart of Willow Creek, a small town nestled among rolling hills and whispering pines, a legend was born, not of a person but of a dog. Her name was Rita, a sleek black Labrador Retriever with eyes that gleamed like polished amber and a nose that could unravel mysteries no human could solve. Rita was no ordinary dog. She was a canine arson detection specialist, trained to sniff out the faintest traces of accelerants, gasoline, kerosene, or lighter fluid, that arsonists use to set their destructive fires. Over her career, Rita would become a hero, helping solve numerous arson cases and bringing justice to a community plagued by flames. Rita's story began at the State Fire Marshal's K-9 training facility, where she was selected for her keen intelligence and relentless drive. Her handler, Deputy Fire Investigator Sarah Delgado, a woman with a no-nonsense demeanor and a deep love for animals, saw something special in Rita from the start. The two formed an unbreakable bond during months of rigorous training. Sarah taught Rita to detect over 20 different ignitable liquids, rewarding her with a squeaky tennis ball, Rita's favorite, for every correct identification. Rita learned to navigate smoldering crime scenes, her nose cutting through the chaos of charred wood and melted plastic to pinpoint the telltale chemical signatures of arson. Their first major case came in the summer of 2018, when Willow Creek was rocked by a string of suspicious fires. A historic barn on the edge of town was reduced to ashes, followed by an abandoned warehouse and a family-owned diner. The fires were devastating, not just for the property lost but for the fear they ignited in the community. Whispers of an arsonist spread like wildfire, and the pressure was on Sarah and Rita to find answers. The diner fire was their breakthrough. The scene was a mess, tables overturned, windows shattered, and the air thick with the acrid stench of smoke. Investigators had combed the wreckage for days, finding nothing conclusive. Sarah led Rita through the debris, her leash loose as the dog's nose twitched and darted. Rita's tail wagged furiously as she zeroed in on a corner near the kitchen. She sat abruptly, her signal for a hit, and pawed at a scorched floorboard. Sarah knelt beside her, praising her softly, then called for the forensic team. Hidden beneath the floorboard was a faint residue of gasoline, undetectable to human senses but unmistakable to Rita's trained nose. Lab tests confirmed the find, and the evidence pointed to a disgruntled former employee with a motive and no alibi. The arrest was made within days, and Rita's reputation began to grow. As the years passed, Rita and Sarah became an unstoppable team. They tackled cases across the state, from rural farmhouses to urban apartment complexes. Rita's ability to detect accelerants was uncanny, but her real gift was her persistence. She could work for hours, weaving through rubble and ash, never losing focus. Sarah often marveled at her partner's determination, joking that Rita was more stubborn than she was. But it wasn't just Rita's skills that made her special. It was her presence. In the aftermath of a fire, when victims were reeling and investigators were frustrated, Rita's wagging tail and gentle nudge brought a moment of calm, a reminder that hope wasn't lost. One of their most challenging cases came in the winter of 2022, when a series of fires tore through a low-income neighborhood in Willow Creek. The blazes were erratic, striking at odd hours and leaving little evidence. The community was on edge, and the media dubbed the perpetrator the Phantom Arsonist. Sarah and Rita were called to a burned-out duplex where a family had narrowly escaped. The scene was chaotic, with neighbors gathered and firefighters still dousing hotspots. Rita, now 6 years old and in her prime, moved with purpose. She ignored the distractions, the shouting, the hoses, the lingering smoke, and focused on her task. Near the back door she froze, sniffed intently and sat. Sarah marked the spot, and the team found traces of a rare industrial solvent, a clue that led them to a local mechanic with a grudge against the neighborhood's landlord. The mechanic confessed, and the fires stopped. The community threw a small ceremony for Rita, presenting her with a custom dog tag engraved with "Hero of Willow Creek." Rita's career wasn't without its dangers. She once inhaled too much smoke at a factory fire, collapsing mid-search. Sarah rushed her to the vet, tears streaming as she held her partner's head. Rita pulled through, but Sarah never forgot the fear of almost losing her. From then on, she was extra cautious, fitting Rita with protective booties and a vest for hazardous scenes. Rita, ever the professional, took it in stride, her focus unwavering. By 2025, Rita had helped solve over 50 arson cases, earning her a feature in a national firefighting magazine and a visit from the governor, who called her the best nose in the business. But to Sarah, Rita was more than a hero. She was family. At home, Rita was a goofball, chasing her tennis ball across the backyard and sprawling across Sarah's couch like she owned it. Yet the moment Sarah grabbed the leash and said, "Let's go to work," Rita transformed, her eyes sharp and her body alert. As Rita approached her 8th birthday, Sarah began to notice signs of aging. Her partner's steps were a little slower, her muzzle flecked with gray. The thought of Rita's retirement weighed heavily on Sarah, but she knew her partner deserved rest. Their final case was a small one, a shed fire that turned out to be insurance fraud. Rita nailed it, as always, sitting proudly beside a patch of kerosene-soaked soil. Sarah knelt beside her, scratching her ears, and whispered, "Good girl, Rita. You did it." Rita retired to a quiet life with Sarah, spending her days lounging in the sun and playing fetch until her heart was content. Her legacy lived on in Willow Creek, where stories of the arson dog who saved the town were told and retold. A plaque was erected at the fire station, honoring K9 Rita's service, and Sarah began training a new pup, a young lab named Ember, who had big paws to fill. But for Sarah, no dog would ever compare to Rita. Late at night, when the world was quiet, she'd look at her partner curled up by the fireplace and smile. Rita hadn't just solved cases. She'd brought light to the darkest moments, one sniff at a time.